Look at me. Look me in the eyes. Look me in the eyes. Do I look like a happy camper right now? Do I look happy with this season 11 bullshit? I kind of am. I'm not gonna lie. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna be talking about the season 11 patch that just came out. Well, technically it came out Thursday, but look, man, I'm not taking the day off of work just to review a fucking finals patch. Okay, I had stuff to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so I really only had time to come and play the season a little bit, but I didn't have time to actually work on the video until today. So season 11 of the finals, a lot of people are enjoying it, a lot of people are not enjoying it because reasons we'll talk about here in a little bit. But let's go over all the new stuff they added this season. So you see we have a new sponsor, Kometo, which we didn't get any sponsor track for reasons we'll go over here in a little while. And then we also got our new arena, Galaxy Estates. I'm gonna be honest, guys, I fucking love this map so far. Maybe a honeymoon phase type deal, but I think honestly it just looks great. I think it plays great. They added a lot of interesting environmental interactions with it. You got the anti-grav areas, the speed hallways, or whatever they call that stuff, and I think it's just a great map, guys. And honestly, the maps are always good. I never really have an issue with the maps. Even the worst maps in this game, which are like Kyoto and Seoul, even those maps are at least But yeah, new map so far, pretty great. I'm having a lot of fun with it. The battle pass looks great. I did buy the normal battle pass because I think the season's good enough for that at least. Ultimate battle pass, the jury's still out on that. You know, I need to see how Embark handles the rest of the season before I hand them 30 clams. And then we got a revamped tutorial for new players. Looks like we are actually possibly getting some new players this season for once. You know, I got killed by a level 20 something the other day, and he wasn't a Smurf. It's like, holy fucking shit. Are we actually getting more players this season? That's wild. But yeah, the new tutorial looks way better for new players. And then after they finish the tutorial, they can do the early talent program, which looks like it shows them through a bunch of different game modes. And then they can do bot matches and cash out. Yeah, we actually have cash out bots now. The bots are about as smart as you can imagine, which means that they're fucking stupid. Yeah, the bots they need a little bit of work. They need a little bit of work probably. You know, like I said, it's a good way to kind of get a groove for how a cash out match can play out. But I've seen so many clips at this point of the bots just getting stuck in corners or rubber banding up and down the screen. To be honest, maybe what it is that the bots are just operating on such a high IQ ethereal plane that we just can't comprehend their actions. But yeah, the bots are pretty bad, which I kind of expected that to be the case because with a game this complex, you really can't program bots to be perfectly ready to go the first try. You're just going to need that initial implementation that's going to be bad so that you can give the bots time to learn how to actually play the game. I will say Embark Studios, if Arc Raiders is anything to go off of, they have a really good AI programming team or whatever. So I have a little bit of faith that Embark will be able to get their bots to play better. But yeah, right now, you know, if you're a brand new player, you can learn how to play cash out a little bit off of the bot matches. But other than that, I think most people are just going to use it to pad their stats because apparently this counts towards your emerald and your weapon leveling and your KD and everything. I'm sure that's going to last about 15 minutes. Next up, the big one, the melee rework. I'm going to be honest, guys. I think I had a little bit more faith in them than I should have because it's a hell of a mixed bag. So a lot of the shit, like I said, looked good on paper. Then they got put in the game, and a lot of the melee weapons are just worse now. There's really no way around it. A lot of the melee weapons are just worse now. You probably expect me to be like, you know what, Sledgehammer's better now. I'm a happy camper. I don't care what everyone else is. No, I care about all the melee weapons, guys. I want us to all eat, and I want us to all eat well. And right now, it's kind of a case of the Sledgehammer and the sword are eating good. The rest of y'all are kind of getting scraps if you get anything at all. Like I said, a lot of it looked good on paper. We'll talk more about that here in a bit. The ping system improvements are nice, but it is kind of annoying. I do got to relearn my muscle memory because now I keep saying stall for time when I mean to say thank you. But I do appreciate the improvements to the ping system. Ranked tournaments got some improvements. I don't know how good they are yet. I haven't played ranked this season yet, so we'll see if that actually feels different. Same thing with the cash out spawn and variety. I've only played a few matches of cash out on Galaxy Estates. I don't really know what the spawns on that map are like to begin with, so I can't tell you if they're any better right now. We also got some player card improvements, which is pretty nice because I pretty much settled into having only one player card background and whatnot because I was tired of constantly having to change it. So this is a nice little quality of life feature for being able to ice out your contestant a little bit more. And then we got Point Break on Las Vegas Stadium and Team Deathmatch on Monaco. I straight up thought Monaco TDM was already a thing. I'm not going to lie. But another Point Break map is nice. We can now break up the monotony of constantly playing fucking Starlight Hollow. Man, it's so sad. That map was so fun when it came out, and now it's literally just Spawn Trap Paradise. Sponsors are getting faster progression because apparently they're reworking the whole system next season. But yeah, if you guys play this game a lot, make sure to max out all your sponsors because next season they're probably planning on just axing all of these cosmetics entirely or reworking them into a completely different system that's going to take a bit to progress. Also, Embark, fuck you for not adding a Cometa sponsor this season. I know that you're reworking the system, but come on, you couldn't do one more sponsor. Some people are excusing it like, oh, well, they're reworking the system. I get that. But also, with the amount of paid cosmetics you do in this game already, you're telling me you couldn't just go and make one reskin costume? Because that's all the sponsor costumes are. They're all just reskins anyway. And like one new legendary weapon skin for your new players. Come on, Embark. You end up a little bit late on some things, but something you're always on time with is those fucking skin updates. And you're telling me you couldn't throw us one more bone? Come on, man. New soundtrack for Season 11. I haven't given it a good listen yet, but so far from what I've heard, pretty good soundtrack. Embark maps and Embark soundtracks, aside from Starlight Hollow, which I'm convinced was made in less than 2 months. Usually pretty solid. All right, the balance changes. Let's get into the real nitty gritty here. So the APS turret got a bit of an adjustment, so it can block more projectiles now. It has slightly more health, but now you got to do that manual retrieval shit instead of just waiting for it to cool down again. I'm gonna be honest, I think the normal timer with the buff would have been fine on its own. Like I hate how Embark will sometimes see something that's pretty underpowered, all things considered, and think to himself, you know, let's buff it, but let's also nerf it at the same time, because it kind of nullifies the buff entirely. But in this case, I do think once people get used to the manual retrieval, the APS will be a little bit better overall. The breach charge got its time decreased, so now it seems like what Embark is going for here is making it a C4 that you get more of and that explodes faster, but it does less area damage, so you have to use more of them if you want to be able to get that huge sort of explosion like you would with heavy. And it also doesn't do anywhere near as much damage as a C4. I've been exploded by a breach charge at like point blank range, and I think it did probably 20 damage. The data reshaper, apparently they did this in 10.12, but they just completely forgot to mention it. You can reshape gateways now, which from what I know is pretty huge for reshaper, because teleporter, gateway, whatever it's called, is one of the most used gadgets in the game with no counters basically. So reshaper being able to counter gateways like that is fucking huge. Reshaper mains are eaten. Embark, give us the third charge back. I don't know why you took it away. It was never that good. Even if you give it back now, it's still not going to be that great. All right, just give us the third charge back. The hover pad, whoop-de-fucking-do. It got 125 health increase. Embark, this shit needs like 1,000 health, and it needs to be twice as big if you want it to actually be useful. That's all I'm saying about that. All right, the melee weapons. So yeah, like I said earlier, this is a bit of a mixed bag. Some of the weapons got better, some of them are conflicting opinions, and then some of them just fucking suck now. There's no way around it. Obviously, the stamina and precision got added. If you guys want to hear me talk more about that stuff, watch the video I did on the deep dive. My opinions on that really haven't changed, other than the fact that precision itself can be a bit inconsistent just because of how bad Embark servers are. Real quick, I'm gonna go on a tangent about this. The servers for this season launch are probably the worst I have ever seen in this game. I'm gonna put some footage on screen right now. Look at this shit, bro. Look at what I was dealing with. This game was lag spiking like every 30 fucking seconds. I straight up just gave up halfway through the match because I could not do anything. And on top of this, there was some fucking friendless virgin named Call Me Daddy going around with the winch claw and SA-12, and he would kill you with one of the most brain dead loadouts in the game and then start teabagging your statue after he killed you. I don't know what the fuck his problem was. But yeah, dude, this game's servers during this season launch are so bad, and it is not helping the precision system at all. So with the precision system, you have to be more accurate with your melee hits to get your stamina refilled. Fine, fair enough. But your servers are so fucking bad this season that I can hit someone in the bone zone, which is what I personally call the precision zone. I can hit someone in the bone zone, and then it won't do I won't get my stamina back because your fucking server registered it as a glancing blow. What are we doing, Ember? Come on. Fix the fucking servers. Buy some new ones. Stop renting servers from fucking Alibaba. Go rent them from someone who has a good fucking data center to route your servers from, okay? All right, so the dagger. Honestly, it's just worse this season. So the damage and everything is mostly the same, which is honestly surprising to me because the lead designer went on this whole tirade last season about how he found the dagger to be problematic. But looks like the damage is mostly intact, and they did add lunge to it. The problem with the dagger right now is that they nerfed dash, which the dagger was already basically reliant on if you wanted to play semi-decently with it. And even if you're not using dash, you would think that the lunge could make up for it, but it really doesn't a lot of the time. I've had so many instances where I clearly have a guy in the precision zone and I lunge at him and it either registers as a glancing blow or it just doesn't register as a backstab in general. Maybe I was a couple degrees off, but either way, the lunge a lot of the time for backstab messes you up, which is why people would tend to use dash. And overall, I think the dagger is just a worse weapon this season, which sucks because the dagger already fucking sucked. There's some people who have managed to get a hang of this new system, but I think a lot of people are just going to drop dagger if they were even using it to begin with, because this shit is fucking ass now, dude. Dual blades, I'm hearing conflicting information on, but overall, a lot of people are saying that they also fucking suck now because the mouse one, you know, it's a little bit better now. You don't have that third hit that takes a while. But the problem is that they added this new cross slash to the secondary, but they slowed you down to an actual snail's pace when you're blocking, right? I knew the movement speed was going to get decreased when you were blocking, but it is actually just unbearably slow. And that cross slash has no sort of like real lunge mechanic or anything to it. So if you're not A1 at predicting enemy movements, which is hard to do for mediums and lights in this game, it's a little easier on heavies, but for mediums and lights, if you're not fucking the master of predicting movements, you're not getting shit out of this cross slash. So you're sitting there at a snail's pace blocking. Oh, and you also take more damage while deflecting now because the deflect was just so fucking overpowered to begin with. I think Embark had this idea that the cross slash was going to be a lot more useful than it actually is. And don't get me wrong, there is a little bit of tech going around with the cross slash. I don't want to talk about it too much because I know the tech police are listening. There's a lot of pretty neat movement techs you can do with the cross slash, but they're still overall kind of niche, and I don't really see them doing too much to help just how bad the deflect is now. Primary attack for the dual blade seems better now, but yeah, the deflect needs some buffs, man. This shit is fucking terrible. Quick melee, I don't know why they went into quick melee before the other stuff, but quick melee damage got reduced to 25. So a lot of the quick melee combos we used to have are just dead now, but there are some that still work, and we did get some new ones with the melee weapons since a lot of them got their damages changed around. But so far, I haven't really seen anyone complain about kicking, stopping steals, which is surprising. I thought that complaint was going to come out pretty fast. The riot shield, the damage got reduced on it because it was just so strong before. I think most of the combos are still intact except for heavies maybe, but there's definitely still 2 hits lights. The main thing with the riot shield though is you move so slow while you're blocking now, and the shield bash is another one of those things that's really inconsistent. I've already had multiple instances where I'm lunging at someone with the shield bash and it just doesn't fucking do anything. They like back up a half inch, or the shield bash, even though they're clearly on my screen, just does no damage. I'm not even a glancing blow. It just doesn't do anything. But I think Riot Shield does have a lot more potential to do better than the dual blades, but people are going to need time to lab it out. Medium weapons overall, it's a bit of a mixed bag. On one hand, I do like some of the changes they added, but on the other hand, they did also just gut some of the shit that made them semi-usable. Sledgehammer. All right, guys, Sledgehammer mains, I'm being real. We're eating this season, all right? The Sledgehammer is finally back up to at least B tier. Some people are arguing A and S tier. I'm not sure about that because I haven't played with it enough to really say. It got a buff on its primary hit, it got an increase on the lunge range, and then the secondary hit, the power bash as I like to call it, got raised back up to 200 damage, and it got an increase in lunge distance. And currently, you can still do the power slide where you slide while doing a power hit, and then you can combine that with the lunge to basically give yourself an evasive dash. Now, I'm going to be honest though, guys. That's probably getting nerfed within the next month, all right? We already know Embark does not like when a melee weapon is too good, and the Sledgehammer right now is pretty fucking good. It's at least usable again, but some people are arguing that it's just busted. So hopefully if Embark changes this, all they do is just reduce the lunge distance on the secondary attack and just leave the power slide, Embark. I would rather have the power slide than the lunge, personally. But yeah, right now, Sledgehammer mains, we're eating good. Probably not going to be eating good forever, though, so enjoy it while it lasts. The spear, you want to talk about a polar opposite? It's the fucking spear. This shit is actual ass. It is ass, bro. I don't know what Embark was thinking They reduced the damage on the primary hit. They changed the sequence for it. The precise hit is so inconsistent. And then with the secondary, it's also just extremely inconsistent with giving you your stamina back. So half the time you can't even use the full combo. You'll go in, you'll do the spin, you'll clearly hit somebody, but you won't get your stamina back, so you can't follow up. And then you can't even follow up with the primary attack because you don't have the stamina to give you the lunge. Embark, if there's any melee weapon you go back and address first, it needs to be the spear. I don't know how, but this weapon got worse. Oh, and to add insult to injury, I'm pretty sure they also removed the tech you could do where you would winch claw someone and then spin to send them flying, which most of the time wasn't even useful to begin with. So I don't know why they felt the need to shadow nerf and remove that. I swear, Embark and their fucking hatred for any sort of tech that they didn't intend is still extremely annoying. I don't know why the fuck they are so insistent on getting rid of techs that people like. It's not even like nukes, which were intended, by the way, where it was a genuine threat to people's enjoyment of the game. Nobody sees the spear spin winch claw tech in the game and thinks, wow, I'm uninstalling. Oh, and then real quick, you want to talk about a contradiction on Embark's end. Let's get over to the sword. They buffed the mouse 1. It does almost as much damage as the lunge for the sword. Embark, what in the fuck are we doing here, bro? I thought you wanted less mouse 1 spam. Why are we buffing mouse 1 on the sword? Now the sword is literally just, there is no reason to use the lunge. First of all, the dash is nerfed, so you can't dash lunge as much to begin with. Even if you want to dash lunge, it's just completely inconsistent. And if you want to just use the lunge to move, you can't do that because the lunge uses stamina. So the sword is literally just mouse 1 spam now. There's no real skill involved with it anymore. You just run up to people and you hit mouse 1. I'm not saying it's going to be like S tier up and high elo or anything. But yeah, if you need any proof that Embark oftentimes just completely contradicts themselves when balancing, it is the sword. The guy literally said in the Q&A that he does not think running up to people and just spamming the fucking swing button is fun. And then he went and buffed one of the spammiest melee swings in the game. What the fuck are we doing? And I'm not even saying that I think the sword needs to be like dumpstered. I think that Embark just went in the completely wrong direction with this. The sword did not need a buff to its mouse 1. It needed a buff to its lunge to incentivize more skillful gameplay with it. So yeah, overall, this is why I did say, you know, I like the idea of the stamina and precision system, but I was holding out final judgment until we actually got it in the game to see what it played like, and it's a hell of a mixed bag. And if you're a sledgehammer main or a sword main, you're probably having fun right now. We'll see how long you get to have fun for, because God forbid any melee weapon gets too good, so sledgehammer and sword are probably going to get fucking dumpstered soon. Probably by patch 10.3. And then spear and dagger desperately need help. They weren't good to begin with, and this melee rework just ended up being a nerf overall. And then dual blades and riot shield, I'm hearing conflicting information on, and I kind of feel the same way. You know, on one hand, I like some of the new functions they have, but on the other hand, they feel extremely inconsistent. So hopefully Embark is standing by ready to address all this shit, and they don't take 3 seasons to just do anything for melee weapons like they tend to do a lot of the time. But maybe this time around, Embark is actually going to come around within a month, hopefully, and buff some of the weapons that need buffs and adjust some of the values that need adjusting. Once again, I don't think any weapon here really needs a nerf overall, other than maybe the sword's mouse 1 and the sledgehammer having this evasive dash tied into its secondary attack for some reason. But I'm sure Embark will take the wrong lesson from it, and instead of just reducing the lunge distance on the secondary, they'll probably make it to where you can't do the power slide anymore. Like I said, they're already taking out some of the text, so I wouldn't be surprised if the power slide goes soon too. Also, real quick before we move on to the rest of the stuff, I'm gonna once again reiterate my conspiracy theory that the melee rework was supposed to happen last season, because you cannot convince me that the hover pad and the shockwave wouldn't have been better for a sci-fi season and the melee rework wouldn't have been better for the medieval season. All right, I am pretty sure both of those things just got kind of swapped around in the seasons because Embark realized they needed more time for the melee rework. And shit, if you're asking me, I think they need even more time. I think we need to spend another season reworking melee, because this shit is such a mixed bag, bro. It is such a mixed bag. All right, the specializations. The cloak has been adjusted, not really a nerf or a buff. So it looks like they want people to run and gun a little bit less with the cloak, and they want to push you more towards sitting in a corner, being cloaked like a fucking gargoyle, and then pouncing on people from there and just being stealthy overall with it. I did try it out, and yeah, there are pretty long periods where you could just be completely invisible. But with the dash nerf that we're about to get into, I wouldn't be surprised if we still see a lot of people complaining about cloak. And speaking about dash, yeah, dash, they completely just removed one of the charges. I did not think that they would implement this as soon as they did. I thought they were going to wait at least until lights got their increased health with respec order, but no, it looks like they must have had enough feedback to say, you know what, fuck it, just take away one of the dash charges. You know, as a guy who plays a lot of melee on heavy, on one hand I'm happy, on the other hand I am extremely sad for all of you dagger players, because fucking shit, dude, the dash was basically mandatory if you wanted to play well with dagger, and now you guys are even worse off. The dagger is honestly on the level of the MGO32 right now with how bad it is. We'll probably finally at least see lights running more of a mix of dash and cloak. I think grapple's still going to be kind of the redheaded stepchild of the light class where no one really wants to use it. And don't be surprised if in the near future people start complaining more about cloak and SH1900 or LH1 or something. The winch claw, finally, Embark. This is why I bought the battle pass, Embark, because you finally fucking nerfed the winch claw. Not enough in my opinion, all right, but you finally did something. The stun is basically non-existent now. It's 0.1 seconds. I think it still needs to be 0 seconds. I don't think it should exist at all, to be quite frank. But I imagine there's something on the programming side that makes the stun harder to just completely remove. So for the time being, they probably just reduced it to the bare minimum. And I imagine at some point they plan on removing it entirely. Hopefully they plan on reworking Winch Claw completely to be something that you have to pull out before you can throw it. We'll see. They haven't ever mentioned a Winch Claw rework, so I don't really know if they plan on doing one at all. So if this is the most we can do with the stun, then I guess I'll take it. And hopefully we start to see the bitch claw a little bit less. I hate how much this specialization dictates what heavy players who don't even play with winch claw can use in this game. All right, weapons. The 50 Akimbo got a 2 damage buff. I'm not really complaining. I think this is a buff tailored more towards people like me who suck with the Akimbo, because people who are already good with them, I don't think they were complaining about the damage. And really at this point, I think the 50 Akimbos are just a better BFR, to be honest. The BFR Titan is already kind of falling out of favor with a lot of people. And now with the 50 Akimbo basically being able to do the same amount of damage as the BFR within the same amount of time and having a faster reload and more bullets, I don't really see anyone who wants to win using the BFR over the 50 Akimbo. The 9.3R got to change because of course it did. It wouldn't be an Embark patch without the fucking 9.3R being changed for the 9 millionth time. So this time they decreased the damage and increased the ammo. Next patch they'll probably increase the hip fire spread and reduce the ammo again and then increase the damage. Who fucking knows, man? Embark, can you just leave this weapon alone for like 3 seasons straight? Just leave it alone for 3 seasons, see where it settles in. All right, put your bandwidth towards other light weapons that need help, like the dagger, maybe. And then the FCAR got an RPM decrease. As much as I rag on the whole FCAR medium basic bitch playstyle, I don't really feel like it needed a nerf. But that being said, this RPM nerf, I mean, it's 10 RPM. I'm pretty sure they could have shadow nerfed it like this, and most people wouldn't have even noticed the difference. The KS-23 got its damage increased to 110 per shot, but it does a little bit less damage at range now. I think the KS-23 is at its best when you're using it close range anyway. That being said, I'm not a KS-23 main, but I think overall this is a net improvement for the KS-23. The minigun got its dispersion reduced. Oh, and they also increased the environmental damage from 30 to 35, so you can destroy walls relatively fast with a minigun now. So on one hand, I like this change. On the other hand, I don't like that Embark is kind of just, oh yeah, we just like to see the minigun have its chance to shine in the meta. No. You shouldn't be balancing based on what you would like, Embark. You should be balancing based on what the players would like. Granted, I don't think the players are complaining about this minigun buff, but I just don't like this whole philosophy they're hinting at where, yeah, we'd like to see it shine in the meta for a little while. Okay, but what are you going to do if it does? Are you just going to dumpster it after that? Because that seems to be the standard so far. I just don't like the sort of subtext I'm getting out of this dev note here. Maybe I'm just being a little schizo, but I don't like when developers just balance off of what they would like. But that being said, I don't think this is going to make the minigun overpowered or anything. I think just like Embark said, it's just going to give it a little bit of a chance to shine shine in the meta a bit more. But I think we are getting to the point with the minigun where we can sort of slow down on the buffs, because it is getting to the point where it's fine. You know, just, you can leave it alone. People who put the time in to learn the minigun, how to move around with it and all that, they're doing fine with it. And you're going to get it to a point where they're actually just going to start dominating the arena. And then you're going to have to dumpster the minigun, and then the minigun's going to fucking suck. All right, the Model 1887 got an increased pellet damage from 12 to 13. That's still far from the actual issue with the model. The issue with the model is the shitty reload and cycling. It needs something to help with that reload more than anything. The Pike 556 got its headshot multiplier increased to 1.75. So I'm pretty sure the Pike can two-shot lights if you hit 2 headshots now. I'm not entirely sure on the damage values of the Pike. I barely use it, but I am sure that Comms in combo is eating his heart out right now. And that's pretty much all the balance changes here that we got. Most of the changes aren't really all that crazy on the specialization and weapon side, aside from dash and winch finally being adjusted for once. And then for the melee weapons, as I mentioned, it's such a mixed bag. I really hope Embark is planning on coming back around and adjusting these melee weapons soon, because dagger and spear are straight up struggling. Riot shield and dual blades are inconsistent. And then hammer and sword, there's an argument to be made that they are just busted overall. All right, those are my opinions on Season 12 so far. I think Season 12 overall has a good start. The player numbers are going up, but when it comes to the melee rework itself, a lot of the weapons still need a lot of work done, which I knew would be the case to an extent, because Embark themselves always kind of struggled to understand melee to begin with, so I knew this wasn't going to be a perfect implementation. So we'll see what Embark does. I don't want to spend too much time speculating because this video is already going to be really long, but let's get into your reactions to the season. So as I did before, I put out a little bit of a post here saying, hey everyone, give me your thoughts on Season 11, the balance changes and all that. Let me know what you're thinking. I appreciate your guys' input. Remember guys, every time a new balance or mid-season or season patch comes out, I'm planning on doing this. I was worried about the kick being used to stop steals until I read the footnote that kicks can't move you enough to disrupt the steal as long as you're stealing. Oh, so that's not a thing. All right, I wasn't sure if kicks were able to stop steals. It looks like that's not the case. So good on Embark for thinking about that. I'm pretty sure you can still probably chain multiple kicks together to stop a steal, but at that point, I think you both might as well just shoot the guy unless he's getting healed by H+ infuser or something. Elusive Emu says, I haven't played yet, but on paper, it looks like they took the spear out back and shot it. My guy, I unfortunately think you're correct. Yeah, the spear is unfortunately a victim of collateral damage. I think Embark meant to do a drive-by shooting on the winch claw and the dash, and then they accidentally hit the spear. Jim Q3L says, is it just me or is the latency back worse than ever? I didn't have a good first playthrough because I had like 20 FPS. But he did say that back in Season 10 it was smooth sailing and that he just wants to hit people with the newly buffed hammer because he thinks the precision system is pretty cool. I feel you, Jim. The servers this season are absolutely fucking atrocious. It is probably the worst server performance I have ever seen on a season launch, which is probably why the player count went from like almost 30,000 on the first day down to 24,000 the next day. I know that Marvel Rivals also put out a new Season 2 though, so maybe that had something to do with it. But man, the servers, Embark, you guys seriously, this is just it is downright unacceptable how badly they are performing for a lot of people. Ice Spider says, this season so far feels so good. It has that Embark charm that was missing from Season 8 and 9, and it's a good direction. If they can deliver on the rest of the season as well as Season 12, I'd be very happy. Same here. I think it feels good so far. It definitely feels a lot more finals than Season 8 and 9 did for sure. Season 10 started to bring it back a little bit, but definitely in Season 11 we have those finals vibes back. And real quick, if you don't know what I mean by finals vibes, you just don't understand the finals in general. Okay, you can tell when the finals vibes are there. They were not there in Season 8 and 9. Season 10 we were mostly there, and Season 11 I would say we have the finals vibes back, even though the finer details are just needing some work still. Jonai says the nerf on the dual blades reflect was kind of unnecessary. No, it was wholly unnecessary. Like I said, I think Embark thought that the dual blades cross/slash movement thing was going to be a lot more useful than it actually was. The reflect only blocks bullets, but most of the time while playing dual blades, my enemies would counter the deflect not by throwing a grenade, a canister, or asking a teammate for help from an off angle, but rather by simply shooting some more. If I can't consistently land my hits on a dash spamming light with an M11 or any other gun for that matter, then they can very easily brute force through my reflect, and God forbid I deflect 2 or more people at once, they can easily shave off at least a third of my HP quickly even without anyone shooting from an off angle. This is basically a long-winded way of saying The deflect fucking sucks right now. It is basically something you might as well not even use because they increase the amount of damage you take while deflecting. I'm pretty sure Embark listened to the fucking shithead Redditors that just think that dual blades deflect was this extremely oppressive, overpowered mechanic when it really wasn't. Hopefully they undo that nerf, because if they undo that, I think the dual blades would be back to a pretty decent state. But currently, not being able to use the deflect how you used to just is not good for the dual blades. ME9SG says nothing is changed about ranked and smurfs. Not surprising at all. I mean, I know they did that RS personal improvement thing, but personally, I don't see how that's going to solve the smurfing or anything. Really, if anything, it's just going to make the smurfs level up a little bit faster, but all they can do to stop that from happening is just play like shit, because a lot of the time, the people who are smurfing in ranked aren't doing it for themselves. They're doing it so they can boost their buddies, which is lame-ass, bitchless behavior nonetheless, but that's why this personal RS score thing probably isn't going to do much to help with smurfing. GamerNo455 says no AK buff is sad, but Pike and Model buff and winch nerf is goated. I can agree, yeah, overall, I can agree with all that. Until the winch gets to a point where it's not extremely fucking annoying and just meta defining to the point where you have to balance the entire heavy class around winch, until we get to that point, any nerf to the winch is goated. Akira Dragon Daishu says, melee looks good so far. I only tried the hammer for the time I had. The cash out bots is a good way to relax a bit on match and helps a lot in terms of grinding XP and fans, even with the reduction. There's some weird bugs sometimes and the bots are still kind of stupid. Kind of stupid. Dude, I think the bots might be at the bar for mental retardation. Breaking any access point to the cash out prevents them from accessing it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know Embark said they could navigate the maps. I think Embark meant they could navigate the maps when they're fully intact. The second you start destroying surfaces, the bots have no clue what to do. It's a shame we didn't get any new weapons and gadgets, but I expected it since the melee plus esports is coming. Yeah, same here. I didn't talk about this earlier, but I knew we weren't going to get any weapons or gadgets or anything, but I'm also at the point where I'm not expecting it for Season 12 either, because I don't know if you guys have seen the roadmap for Season 12. It is one of the most vague roadmaps I have ever seen. Like, what the fuck does new ways to play mean? What does increasing the game show fantasy mean, Embark? You need to give us more information, okay? I don't need you to tell us, like, if you're planning on adding a new weapon, I don't need you to tell us, yeah, the new weapon is a shotgun or something. No, you can just say new weapon for whatever class, right? New medium weapon, new heavy gadget, new light specialization, whatever. But Season 12's roadmap is so vague that I'm starting to lose hope that it's going to be anything crazy content-wise. It's probably just going to be a bunch of quality of life stuff and maybe some new game show events. Bigman8267 says, was worried that lunging around the map with the sword was dead, but nope, they buffed the movement on sword so that lunge, jump, and slide on the right timing can clear about 27 meters max. Okay, so it looks like if you can get it right, then the sword movement is better. It's just a shame that the tactic, once you actually get in range, is just going to be mouse one, mouse one. I had high hopes that mouse one spamming was dead, but that doesn't look to be the case. T21Plet says, first time in a long time the game felt fresh in my opinion. I had more fun on cash out than I've had in the past 3 seasons. Happy with this season. Okay, very positive feedback overall. I'm glad to hear you're having fun, Plet. Spaghetti says, I've played all day. The melee changes benefit a few of them, but most remain unviable or worse than they already were. Melee still unironically get out TTK'd in melee range, which I was hoping they would have addressed now that it requires precision and the addition of the kick. Yeah, melee rework is just such a mixed bag. Hopefully Embark is ready to address all of that. Kickrow7060 says, I can see what they're trying to do. There are certain issues, but that's mainly getting used to the new melee system. I still think it's a good change since they now finally have a way to balance melee, but my man Spear was murdered in broad daylight. Spearmains killed in a drive-by shooting, bruh. They killed my man, the Spear. Look at the Spear in the casket. What'd he ever do to y'all? He was just trying to live. He was just trying to get out the hood. And y'all killed him. Y'all killed him. Legoshi, another returning commenter, says, this season definitely reeled me back into the finals. I am a huge fan of the melee rework, and it makes a lot of melee, aka the sledgehammer for me, a lot more playable. I will say though, Legoshi, from what I remember, you didn't play melee that much to begin with, and if sledgehammer is your only experience so far this season, then I can understand why it's very positive for you, but I do think that if you played melee more, you would probably have a bit more of a mixed bag opinion, but it's a valid opinion to have either way. Open Up My Head says, I've played dual dual blades for at least 400 hours. Its new variant feels interesting to say the least. My old style of drawing enemy fire and then shockwaving into them and cleaving groups just isn't possible anymore, which I frankly don't mind since it was a little bit cheesy. Getting a good combo going feels really rewarding. Can totally see Reddit posts coming up for the lunge distance. Feels like a proper duelist weapon and kind of fun as of now, but it's still early to say the least, as it feels like I have to learn the weapon all over again. Spear feels way harder to use in my opinion right now, dude. The depth of Spear, it's spreading around the hood, bro. Everybody's heard about it by now. Your grandmama's talking about it. Your little sister's talking about it. Everyone's talking about it. The Spear got clapped, bro. But it looks like we have a pretty long-standing dual blades main here. He's happy with it, so good for you, man. But also, with 400 hours in dual blades, that probably contributes to you being able to get a feel for the weapon faster than other people. Jordan Biopid says, this season, playing only for an hour so far has been great. Embark delivered what they promised above and beyond with the melee rework, and the cosmetics battle pass are excellent. The new map is great. They absolutely cooked with this one. Very, very positive feedback from Jordan here. And granted, they only played about an hour before commenting, and I don't know how much this person plays melee, but this person looks like they're having a lot of fun. Good for you, man. And yeah, I will agree. I will say most of the stuff outside of the melee rework is great. The melee rework is really the only part of the season that's a real mixed bag. Real Kami Crop, one of our only esteemed Zorpian Empire President Schreiber badge members, says, I don't like the damage reduction for quick melee. I'm glad, however, that they reduced the kick distance for people who are stealing a cash out. Okay, so somewhat positive feedback overall. Bruh EXE says, Spear got fucking slimed, bro. They removed the first M1 hit while also nerfing hits 2 and 3 from 80-90 to 74-74. The spin does less total damage at 301 instead of 315. Oh, this guy pointed out a great thing too. Embark literally got the wrong damage values in the patch notes. So if you look at the Spear and you look at their spin, you see it says they removed the old spin attack that did 100 damage for spin. I don't think that's what they did. I'm pretty sure they did 105 if I remember correctly. And the spin damage is no longer uniform, being 75, 100, 126 instead of 105, 105, 105. The spins are also slower by 0.2 seconds except for 3, which is slightly faster. All of these changes ruin every single combo the Spear had and jacks up its TTK noticeably while making it deal worse damage. Also, they nerfed the lunge range, so the new lunge only starts when you're within 0.5 meters of being able to hit them, making it worthless. Yeah, dude. Overall, I think the Spear was fucking massacred. And with that said, I think that's a good place to end with the community feedback. I know there was a lot of comments. I'm not going to put them all in this video. And if your comment wasn't in this video, then just keep an eye out for the next patch review announcement, post, whatever you want to call it, and leave your comment on how you feel about that patch, and maybe that one will be in the next video. But for the time being, I think that's going to be it when it comes to reviewing the Season 11 patch. Overall, I do think most of the stuff in Season 11 is great outside of the melee rework. The melee rework itself has introduced a lot of issues that need to be addressed, which was always going to be the case because anytime you're reworking something this extensively, it's never going to be perfect the first go around. But Embark seriously needs to follow up on the melee rework as soon as they can, because we cannot go months with 2 of the melee weapons being complete dog shit, 2 of them being pretty inconsistent, and then 2 of them being arguably busted. And you know, when they come around to nerf hammer, hopefully they don't massacre it. They probably will, but I'll enjoy the hammer while I have it, when I can, because this little series I'm starting on this channel that I have cooking up, we'll see how much I actually get to use hammer. I think you guys are gonna like it though. But until that video comes out, I will see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying Season 11 so far. If you're not enjoying it, hopefully Embark addresses your concerns so that you can get back to enjoying the finals. So far, I'm enjoying Season 11 overall, aside from the servers. The servers are fucking terrible. But anyways, that's gonna be it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.